Well, hello and welcome or welcome back to Read Becca for another to be read list. This time April is full of, as usual, an overabundance of events, and I want to participate in them all, and I can't. I've tried very hard this year to keep my focus narrow in my TBRs and very limited, and this is still manageable, but it does feel like we're verging toward unmanageable. This is a good amount, but I'm a little concerned. I think my reading plate is full, is where I'm going. So I am very excited for all the events I'm participating in though. So let's jump into the books and the events that I want to read for. First is People April, which is a event focused on reading about people, as it says. So that is going to be biographies and memoirs. So I have a couple of options here. First is Life on Other Planets, a memoir of finding my place in the universe by Aoama Shields. If you were around last year with me, I went to an event with Aoama Shields speaking at my science center in the OmniMax. They had her set up really well, and it was such a great talk, and obviously I got her book there.
Good evening. I am so excited to be here. This is like the coolest space I have ever seen. Pun intended, pun intended. For different types of stars. That's the power of computer modeling. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and then you'll read, hopefully, more about that in the book. What I find really fun about studying exoplanets is turning knobs to figure out how habitable, that is, how likely to host life these planets might actually be.
And I have not read it yet, so I really, really want to. This is obviously a memoir about her having gone to school for a STEM career and not really feeling welcome or supported there. As a woman of color, she didn't feel like the supports were in place and ended up leaving the school as a result. And she completely changed course. She went into a career as an actress, found some success at that, and then decided to try again and return to a career in STEM. And now she is a scientist who works at NASA studying exoplanets. And that was so fascinating to hear about. So I'm really, really excited to get to this memoir finally. The other one is a return to an old friend, and that is Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain, who I adore. I have read this before and loved it, so I know this is going to be a hit. Pretty much this is a sure thing for me for this month. But I have never read it on audio, and I've also somehow never tracked the fact that I read it, so it's not recorded anywhere in my stats. So that's going to have to get corrected by this. But I did borrow the audiobook, so I'm going to listen to this narrated by Bourdain himself. He's just a lovely person, a fantastic narrator, and as I said, this will be returning to a very wonderful read about the beginnings of his career as a chef. This is an expose on the dirty culinary secrets inside the kitchen. So I love this book. Then another sort of return, but not a good return. It's in The City in the Middle of the Night by Charlie Jane Anders. This is a return in that it was on my Trans Girl April TBR last year. It is the only book from my list for that TBR that I did not read. So we're definitely going to read it this year. And I feel fine about that. I had several books, and this was the only one I didn't get to, so that's okay. But then I did put it on several TBRs after that and still didn't get to it. So this is the only must read for this month. And this is, as I said, for Trans Girl April. So this is, as I understand, sort of sci-fi about a planet with a very narrow strip that's habitable. And that's about all I need to know. I love Charlie Jane Anders' previous book, All the Birds in the Sky, which was very like technology meets magic. Really interesting themes and exploration. So I will, I'm sure, enjoy this one as well. Then, Old School April. I'm sort of loosely participating. I'm so excited by Old School April, and all of the videos people have put out about it have been great. But I just don't have the time to participate as much as I would like. The prompts are very cool as well. So definitely check out about Old School April more on the readathon. But for me, I'm conceptually going to participate by reading or continuing on in my reread of Sandman, the comic. So these are volumes 3 and 4, and I love this comic. I'm a huge fan of Gaiman's work, and I started rereading volume 1 and 2 with the series having come out, the adaptation, and I decided to continue on because I've never actually finished the whole series, but volumes 3 and 4 are obviously sitting on my shelf, ready for me to reread so I can continue on and eventually finish the whole series. These are a good fit for Old School April, I think, because they came out in 1990 and 1991, and they also are very important as a catalyst to the comic book world. Sandman, though there were other comics that existed at the time, Sandman really was approachable for people who were not interested in superhero comics. They brought in a new audience, and they really sort of began the term graphic novels in wide use outside of the comic book world. So they really changed the face of comic book stores and who felt welcome and felt like they had some interest in comic books. They really brought in a new clientele. So these were pretty important at the time in the 90s in the comic book world. So I am definitely happy to continue on in my reread. Then, beyond that, I am also planning to participate in the BookTube Prize. I do not have an assignment yet at the time I'm filming this, so I don't know if I will be on the bench or if I will be assigned to a group. If I am assigned to a group, I will have 2 months to read 6 books. So that will mean about 3 books each month. So 3 months in April will be necessary. And if that's nonfiction, there are some pretty chunky books. So again, we will see how this pans out. But that is my intent, that I will be reading some of those, and I will not be able to talk about those or know what they are until we're into April. Beyond that, I also have kind of a secret project that I want to do with some short fiction, mainly. But I had wanted to start that project in January through April. And now it is April, and I have only a few weeks to do that secret project before the kind of internal deadline I gave myself for reasons. So I do still want to do that, and I want to try to do it in April. And we will see if I can actually get it done, though. Who knows? Anyway, but other than that, that's already quite a bit. I also have my ongoing long-running buddy reads of The Best of World SF Volume 3 and The Complete Edgar Allan Poe. So those will continue slowly but surely progressing. So that is manageable still. I will probably read roughly all of those, hopefully, and some other stuff, hopefully. But it's always very up in the air for me. So we shall see how my TBR goes for me this month. I think that's it for me today. Let me know down below if you are participating in the readathons I talked about. I know probably the one I wanted to participate in the most that I don't think I have room for is Giant April, which was about reading like monster books. I had a couple of great selections for that, but I just don't think I have the time or space to fit that in. But that is what's on the back of my mind to try and fit something in if I can. So let me know if you are participating in these readathons or what readathons you are participating in and what you're reading. Thank you so very much for watching.